Shri Sairam. Dear students, in the subject Indian history, in the chapter Cholas, today in part 3, we are going to learn about the Chola administration. Cholas ruled an extensive empire which spread the major portion of South India. They introduced a new system of administration which gave stability to the state. Actually, they provided a strong, systematized and a sound administration. So when we talk about Chola administration, it is the centralized administrative system which comprised of the first, the king, the second, the council of ministers, the third, the division of land into units, and the fourth being the village administration. The first, the king. King was the supreme head of the administration of Cholas. He had some unlimited powers. The king was considered equal to God and he took the titles Peruvudayar and Paramanadigal. These titles usually are attributed to gods. The eldest son of the king was appointed as the crown prince and he took over the kingdom after the demise of the ruling king. So suppose if there is a crisis in this succession, this rule was not applied. The close relatives of kings were given positions to administer the territories. And the second important segment of the centralized administration of Cholas is the council of ministers. The king discharged his duties with the help of able, intelligent, efficient council of ministers. Whatever decisions they have taken, he has taken with the help of this council of ministers and an efficient bureaucracy. So then the third one being the division of kingdom into units. The Chola kingdom, that is Rajaraja I, introduced an uniform division of administrative division in Chola empire. Actually, the empire was divided into many divisions. They are called mandalas. So during the time of Rajaraja, there were 8 mandalas. So when you talk about the Tamil country, was divided into 4 mandalas. The first one being the Chola Mandalam. This is the areas with the lower valley of Kaveri and the coastal strip between the 2 rivers, named both of them as Pennars. And then the Tondai Mandalam, which is the area of Kanchipuram and Madras, and Pandi Mandalam, which occupies the modern districts of Ramnad, Madurai, Kanyakumari, and Ramnad, Madurai and Kanyakumari. And then the Kongu Mandalam is actually the Chera country, which comprises the modern regions of Kerala and Kongu regions like Nilgiris, Dharmapuri, Erode, Salem, and these areas covers the Kongu Mandalam. So Tamil country was divided into 4 Mandalam, and the territories that is conquered in Karnataka by Cholas, they came under one Mandalam, and the territories conquered by Cholas in Chera country, that is Kerala, Malay Mandalam, and then the Andhra region, that is Vengi, it is called as Vengi Mandalam, and the Sri Lanka, which was brought under the control of Chola rule, it became Mummudi Chola Mandalam. So to sum up, there are 8 mandalas in the Chola empire as a division of kingdom into 8. First 4 is Tamil, Chola Mandalam, Tondai Mandalam, Pandya Mandalam and Kongu Mandalam. The next 5th one is the Karnataka one Mandalam, and the 6th one is the Chera's Malay Mandalam, and the 7th one is Vengi Mandalam, this is Andhra territories, and the Sri Lanka territories are called as Mummudi Chola Mandalam. These mandalams were further divided into Valanadus, and these Valanadus are further subdivided into Kotams. The Kotams comprises of numerous villages, and this village is the lowest administrative unit of Chola Empire. When you talk about the village administration, the most amazing feature of Chola administration was the village administration. That is village assembly, which is called Panchayat, Mahasabha. The Chola records mention the existence of 3 types of villages existed in the Chola Empire. First one is Ur, Brahmadeya and Nagaram. The Ur village, where cultivators and laborers lived in the village. They have a separate village for these people. And then the Brahmanas lived in the Brahmadeya village. And merchants occupied the Nagaram. So each and every village is administered by village assembly called Mahasabha. As we know that there were 3 villages existed in the Chola administration, Ur, Brahmadeya and Nagaram. So 3, Ur has an assembly and Brahmadeya has an assembly. So Ur has a separate assembly, Mahasabha. Brahmadeya has a separate assembly and Nagaram also has. So the Ur assembly comprised of local people because they are comprised of cultivators and laborers, is it not? And the Brahmadeya assembly comprised of Brahmana landlords. Rich Brahmins form the assembly of Ur, Brahmadeya, and the Nagaram was administered by the rich merchants. So these village assemblies are semi-autonomous in nature, institutions. It means they were functioning with freedom for attending to the needs of these localities. And according to Uttara Meruru inscriptions of Parantaka I, the village was divided into 30 wards, which is called Kudumbu. Wards, parts, it's called ward. We can tell now in present parlance it is called ward. So before that in Tamil it was called Kudumbu. Each Kudumbu elected one representative among its members. That one representative from each Kudumbu was elected for a period of only 1 year. And these members were elected through a procedure called Kudavolai system. So let us go into detail about what this Kudavolai system of election is all about. These qualified candidates from each ward, they carried on their campaigns. On the day of the election, these people of the village, including old men and children, assembled in the hall of the temple. And the chief election presiding officer called Madhyastha, who was appointed by king, would grace the occasion. And the names of the candidates and each and every voter was given a voting paper called Olai, and on which he wrote his choice of candidates. So after collecting this voting paper ward by ward, and that will be put into the part which is called the Kudavolai part. And a small boy or a girl was asked to pick a voting paper from each part. And the Madhyastha, in the presence of elders, everybody and the villages, and then the Madhyastha would read out the names of the selected candidates, and thus 30 members were selected from 30 wards. So we have here the photos of this. This is a Kudavolai. What is the meaning of Kudavolai is Kudam means part in Tamil, Olai means leaf, palm leaf. So they will write the name of the choice of the candidate in the palm leaves. So this is the Kudavolai part. So this is how the small child was asked to pick the leaf, vote from that, and then this is the archaeological survey has excavated Kudavolai in the recent years in Tanjavur, that was displayed here. This is a big part it is. And then this is one of the sculpture which depicts the Chola administration, that is village administration. There is, see the part, you can see the child was very nicely depicted. The elected representatives from the 30 ward had to work in the committees. So out of 30, 12 were posted in the annual committee. It's called the Samvatsara Variyam. And the other 12 formed the garden committee or the Tota Variyam. And the remaining 6 members formed the tank committee or Yeri Variyam. The village committees, apart from these duties, that is annual committee, in the duties of annual committee, garden as well as tank, they perform some duties like protection of village property and collection of tax and also protection of temples, forests and groves, etc. So these committees are called Variyam in Tamil. And these representatives are called Variya Perumakkal. That is, Perumakkal means dignitaries, the learned persons. These committees worked for 360 days in a year. Only 5 days is remaining. In those 5 days, all the village accounts were audited. So the fresh elections were held for the new year, next year. So the central administration did not interfere. What is central administration? There is kings and the council of ministers never interfere in the village administration unnecessarily. King will interfere where there was a dispute between the two sabhas in the villages, Ur Sabha or Brahmadeya Sabha or Nagaram Sabha. If there is a dispute, then only king had to interfere in that. Otherwise, they never interfere in the village administration. And also, that's how that there was a cordial relationship between the village assembly and the king. And village assembly also performed some judicial functions. Actually, there was a judicial committee called Nyayathar. They settled the disputes the people and also pronounced judgments. Of course, king was the fountainhead of justice in Chola administration. If the party was not satisfied with the decision of this judicial committee, they could appeal to the king for the final judgment. So next, we move on to the qualifications needed for a candidate to contest in the election, to participate in the election. The first one is the ownership of at least half an acre of taxable land. He should have half an acre of land. Next, he should have his own residence. He should not live in the rented place. And then he should be of age between 35 to 70. And he should be proficient in one of the 4 Vedas. And also he should be able to teach these Vedas and give the meaning to the villagers. And he should possess a sterling character. It is a very important criteria for a person to contest in the election. What a nice way of rules they have put. And then disqualifications. So these are the disqualifications. Those who have been the members of the committee. So there are so many committees are there. What are the committees? Annual committee, tank committee, garden committee, judicial committee, even some economical corporations was there. Economical money gramam it is there. And religious committee and social committee, so many are there. So we just consider an important committees. If they were as a committee member for the past continuously for 3 years, they were disqualified. And if they have failed to submit their accounts to the committee, they were disqualified to participate in the election for the next year. And another disqualification is if he had committed the Pancha Mahapadakas as per our scriptures. What are the Pancha Mahapadakas? One is killing a Brahmana. If he had killed a Brahmana, he is disqualified. And if he had taken the intoxicating drinks and the theft, if he is committed theft or committing adultery and others, if he associated with any one of them, if he has not done it, even if he is associated with the company of these people who has done these mistakes, he is also disqualified from appearing for the election. What a nice way of putting the people in right way of living, is it not? So next we move on to the conclusion that the credit of creating an efficient administrative setup definitely goes to Rajaraja Chola. That is why he was called as the great Rajaraja Chola of South. The Chola village administration was practically little republics, is it not? And then we can tell that no other administration, that no other dynasty in India had such an excellent local arrangement of local self-government. So before we sum up, so we may sum up with by the benefits of the role of local self-government, the words of the great writer, author, Professor K. Nilakanta Shastri, between quotes, between able bureaucracy and active local assemblies, which in various ways fostered a fine sense of citizenship, which there was attained a high standard of efficiency and purity. Underline, high standard of efficiency and purity, the highest ever attained by any Hindu state, not even Guptas, not even Kushanas, any Hindu state. He has mentioned that. He has written a book about the South Indian rulers. So, and also we can tell that the legacy of Cholas were not in building the biggest temples and also not in just expansion of the empire, but the legacy of Cholas lies in its administration and their attitude towards the citizens. So finally, we can tell that empowering the citizens and bringing the people into governance made the Chola Empire one of the most prosperous and most happiest kingdoms of the world. So before we go on to the home assignment section, we can have a slight recap, a quick lightning recap about the administration of Cholas. So it is, this Chola administration was very efficient one, which is a centralized administrative system in which system was divided into under 4 heads: king, council of ministers, division of lands and village administration. When we talk about the power of kings, he was the supreme head of the administration and he had some unlimited powers, and he got the title Peruvudayar and Paramanadigal, which was the title usually attributed to the gods. He was treated equally as gods. Now also when you go to Tanjavur, we could see the reverence towards the king Rajaraja. So the people used to come to the Samadhi of Rajaraja and pay their respects to the king of all times. And then the eldest son was crowned as the crown prince, and then he took over the kingdom after the demise of the ruler. And if there's a crisis in the succession, this rule was not applied, and the close relatives were given good positions to administer the territories. Next we talked about the council of ministers. The king was ably supported by the council of ministers and efficient bureaucracy. And then we talked about the division of kingdoms. Kingdoms were divided uniformly. An uniform division of administration was there during the Chola rule. So it was divided into divisions called mandalas, and during Rajaraja there was 8 mandalas, and Tamil country comes under 4 mandalas: Chola, Tondai, Pandi and Kongu Mandalam, and then Karnataka come under 1 mandalam, so it is the 5th one, and Chera come under Malay Mandalam, that is Kerala country, and then Pandyas, that is Andhras, come under the Vengi Mandalam, 7th one, and the 8th one is Sri Lankan territories which were annexed to the Chola Empire, comes under the Mummudi Chola Mandalam. So there are 8 mandalams in the Chola administrative unit. And then we talked about the mandalams were divided into Valanadus, and Valanadus are further subdivided into Kotams. The Kotams included numerous villages, and village is the lowest administrative unit of Chola administration, and village administration was very much we can appreciate in the Chola administration. And there are three types of villages existed in the Chola: Ur, Brahmadeya and Nagaram. The Ur comprised of people, that is local, we can say cultivators and laborers lived in the Ur, and Brahmadeya was occupied by Brahmins, and Nagaram, usually merchants occupied the Nagaram village, and each and every village had their own assembly. Ur has a village, Nagaram has Ur has an assembly, Nagaram has an assembly, as well as Brahmadeya also has a separate assembly, and the assembly means Mahasabha. That Mahasabha comprised of learned people. So in the what we can say Ur assembly, it comprises of local people, and the Brahmadeya, it comprises of Brahmana landlords, rich Brahmins, and the Nagaram comprised of rich merchants. And these village assemblies, they are semi-autonomous institutions. They are very much free to look after the needs of their locality, for attending the needs of their locality. And then we talked about the Uttarameru inscription of Parantaka Chola one. So it tells about that village was divided into 30 units called wards, which was called as Kudumbu in Tamil, and each Kudumbu elected one representative among the members, and each representative, that is one representative from each Kudumbu, they were elected for a period of 1 year, and they were selected as a process called Kudavole system. And then we talked about the Kudavole system procedure. So what actually the candidates, qualified candidates, they used to carry on their election campaigns, and on the day of elections, all people of the village, including old men and children, assembled in the hall of temple, and the Madhyastha, the chief presiding officer appointed by king, would grace the occasion. And what happens? The names that each and every voter was given a voting paper called Volai, and on which they wrote the names of the choice, his choice of the candidates. And after collecting the voting papers by ward, and they were put into the pot called Kudavolai. Kudam means pot and Volai means the leaf. And then the Madhyastha, in the presence of, and then a small girl girl or a boy is asked to pick one leaf for each and every ward, for each wards, and Madhyastha will read out the name of the selected candidates. So thus for 30 wards, 30 members were elected. And next we saw about this archaeological excavation and his sculpture. So the 30 elected members from 30 wards, they have to work in the committees. 12 of them had to work in the Samvatsara committee, and 12 of them in the garden committee, and the remaining 6 of them had to take charge in the tank committee or the Eri Variam. And the village committees performed duties other than these 3 committees, or protection of village lands and taxes, collection of tax and protection of temples, forests and groves. And also the committees are called Variam in Tamil, and these people who occupied this position in the Variam is called Variya Perumakkal, which is called dignitaries, and they work for 360 days in a year, and the remaining 5 days all the village accounts were audited, and the next year's election were held. And then next we talked about the central administration. Central administration never interfered, that is council of ministers as well as king, they never interfered in the village administration. King would interfere where there is a dispute between the two villages, two village assemblies, then only he will interfere. So there was a cordial relationship between the king and the village assembly. And then we talked about village assembly also performed judicial functions. There was a committee called judicial committee, and they settled the disputes among the people, and they pronounced the judgments. Of course, the king was the fountainhead of justice. If the party was not satisfied with the decision of this judicial committee, they could appeal to the king for the final judgment. So then we talked about the qualifications for a candidate to appear for elections. So taxable land he should possess, and he should have a own residence, and he should be of age 35 to 70, and he should have knowledge of Vedas, at least one, and he should be proficient in giving a commentary and explaining the Veda to the villagers, and then he should possess a good character, sterling character. That is a very important criteria for a qualification to become a candidate to appear for election. And then the disqualification is member of the committee. If he is continuously was a member of the committee for 3 years, he was disqualified. And then if he failed to submit his accounts to the committee, then he was disqualified to appear for the election. And the third important disqualification criteria for disqualification is if he committed Pancha Mahapatakas as per scriptures, thus killing a Brahmana, drinking intoxicating liquor, and theft, and committing adultery. And if he had not done these 4 crimes, but if he was associated with the people who were involved in this, then he was also disqualified to appear for the election. So then we concluded with the credit of creating a efficient administration, village administration, goes to Rajaraja Chola. Hence he was called the great Rajaraja Chola of South. And Chola administration, we mentioned as it is practically a little republic, and no other dynasty in India had such an excellent arrangement of local self-government. Then we concluded with Nilakanta Shastri's comment on the benefits of the role of self-government, village assembly, and then we concluded with that village assembly of Cholas, its legacy is not building temples or just expanding an empire, but legacy of Cholas was his administration and their attitude towards citizens, empowering the citizens and bringing them to governance, made Chola kingdom one of the most prosperous and the most happiest kingdoms of the world. So let us move on to the home assignment section. Which inscription tells about the Chola village administration? It's one more question. And what is maybe Kuda Volai? You have to write the meaning of that. And then what is maybe Varyam? These two words are Tamil words. You have to tell the meaning of the words Varyam. And this is the descriptive answer. You have to give a descriptive answer for that village administration of Cholas. For this, you have to talk about, you have to give about the introduction of Chola administration, then the categorization of central administrative system, then you have to explain 3 types of villages, and then division of lands as mandalas, and then we have to explain about the Kudavolai procedures, then finish it with the conclusion. So for this class, till we meet again, Om Shri Sai Ram.